Who wants to chant Mangalacharan prayers today?
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandot Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Pram Jai Shri Prabhupada.
I'll start. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांते राधा कांते नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्णा verses to recite before Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः विद्यन्तोऽस्तु भद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिके। Translation. Before reciting this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Naranarayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his message, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.
Jai. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
I can continue reading 3-4 verses, then others can continue.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Canto 3, chapter 2, text 20. Oh, very nice verse. तथैव चान्ये नरलोकवीरा य आवहे कृष्णमुखारविन्दं नेत्रे पिबन्तो नयनाभिरामं पार्थास्त्रपूता पदमापुरस्य. Synonyms. Tatha, as also, evacha, and certainly, anye, others. Naraloka, human society. Viraha, fighter. Ye, those. Ahave, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Krishna, Lord Krishna's. Mukharavindam, face like lotus flower. Netre, with the eyes. Vibanta, while seeing. Nayana Abhiramam, very pleasing to the eyes. Partha, Arjunam. Ashtraputha, purified. Padam, abode. Apu, achieved. Asya, of him. Translation. Certainly, others who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified by the onslaught of Arjuna's arrows, and while seeing the lotus-like face of Krishna, so pleasing to the eyes, they achieved the abode of the Lord. People. Purpose by His Divine Krishna Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, appears in this world for two missionary purposes: to deliver the faithful and to annihilate the miscreant. But because the Lord is absolute, his two different kinds of actions, although apparently different, are ultimately one and the same. His annihilation of a person like Shishupal is auspicious as his action for the protection of the faithful. All the warriors who fought against Arjuna, but who were able to see the lotus-like face of the Lord on the battlefield achieved the abode of the Lord, exactly as the devotees of the Lord do. The words pleasing to the eyes of the seer are very significant. When the warriors from the other side of the battlefield saw Lord Krishna at the front, they appreciated his beauty, and their dominant instinct of love of God was awakened. Shishupal saw the Lord also, but he saw him as his enemy, and his love was not awakened. Therefore, Shishupal achieved oneness with the Lord by merging in the personal glare of his body, called the Brahma Jyoti. Others who were in the marginal position, being neither friends nor enemies, but slightly in the love of Godhead, by appreciating the beauty of his face, were at once promoted to the spiritual planets, the Vaikunthas. The Lord's personal abode is called Goloka Vrindavan, and the abodes where his plenary expansions reside are called the Vaikunthas, where the Lord is present as Narayan. Love of Godhead is dormant in every living entity, and the entire process of devotional service unto the Lord is meant for awakening this dormant eternal love of Godhead. But there are degrees of such transcendental awakening. Those whose love of God is awakened to the fullest extent go back to the Golok Vrindavan, the planet in the spiritual sky, whereas persons who have just awakened to love of Godhead by accident or association are transferred to the Vaikuntha planets. Essentially, there is no material difference between Goloka and Vaikuntha. But in the Vaikunthas, the Lord is served in unlimited opulence, whereas in Goloka, the Lord is served in natural affection. This love of God is awakened by the association of pure devotees of the Lord. Here, the word Parthastra Putha is significant. Those who saw the beautiful face of the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified first by Arjuna when he made his onslaught with arrows. The Lord appeared for the mission of diminishing the burden of the world, and Arjuna was assisting the Lord by fighting on his behalf. Arjuna personally declined to fight, and the whole instruction of the Bhagavad Gita was given to Arjuna to engage him in the fight. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna agreed to fight in preference to his own decision, and thus Arjuna fought to assist the Lord in his mission of diminishing the burden of the world. All the activities of a pure devotee are executed on behalf of the Lord because a pure devotee of the Lord has nothing to do for his personal interest. Arjuna's killing was as good as killing by the Lord himself. As soon as Arjuna shot an arrow at an enemy, that enemy became purified of all material contaminations and become eligible to be transferred to the spiritual sky. Those warriors who appreciated the lotus feet of the Lord and saw his face at the front had their dormant love of God awakened, and thus they were transferred at once to Vaikuntha Loka, not to the impersonal state of Brahmajyoti as was Shishupala. Shishupal died without appreciating the Lord, while others died with appreciation of the Lord. Can you go down, Prabhu? Both were transferred to the spiritual sky, but those who had awakened to the love of God were transferred to the planets of the transcendental sky. Uddhava seemingly lamented that his own position was less than that of the warriors on the battlefield of Kurukshetra because they had attained to Vaikuntha, whereas he remained to lament the disappearance of the Lord. Text 21. Swayam tvasamyat ishayastradhisha स्वराज्यलक्ष्म्याप्तसमस्तकामः बलिं हरब्धिश्चिरलोकपालय किरीटकोत्तेदितपादपीता. Synonyms: Swayam, himself; two, but; Asamya, unique; Atishaya, greater; three, Adisha, lord of the three; Swarajya, independent; supremacy; Lakshmi, fortune; Apta, achieved; Samasta Kama, all desires; Balim, worshipping paraphernalia; Harabdhi, offered by Chiralokapala, by the eternal maintainers of the order of creation; Kirita Koti, millions of helmets; Idita Pada Pitha, feet honored by prayers. Translation: Lord Shri Krishna is the Lord of all kinds of three and is independently supreme by achievement of all kinds of fortune. He is worshipped by the eternal maintainers of the creation, who offered him the paraphernalia of worship by touching their millions of helmets to his feet. Purport. Lord Shri Krishna is so mild and merciful as described in the above verses, and yet he is the Lord of all kinds of trees. He is the supreme Lord of the three worlds, the three qualities of material nature, and the three Purushas, Karnodakshai, Garbhodakshai, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu. There are innumerable universes, and each and every universe there are different manifestations of Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra. Besides that, there is the Sheshamurti, who bears all the universes on his hoods, and Lord Krishna is the Lord of all of them. As the incarnation of Manu, he is the original source of Manus, all Manus in innumerable universes. Each universe has manifestations of 5,40,000 Manus. He is the Lord of the three principal potencies, namely Chit Shakti, Maya Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. And he is the complete master of six kinds of fortune: wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. There is no one who can excel him in any matter of enjoyment, and certainly there is no one greater than him, no one is equal to or greater than him. It is the duty of everyone, whoever and wherever one may be, to surrender completely onto him. It is not wonderful, therefore, that all the transcendental controllers surrender to him and make all offerings of worship. Text 22. तत्तस्य कङ्कैर्यमलम्भृतान्नो विग्लापयतङ्गयदुग्रसेनं तिष्ठन्निशन्नं परमेष्ठिदृष्णे यद्बोधयद्देव निराधयेति. Synonyms: tat, therefore, tasya, his, kankaryam, service, alam, of course, Britan, the servitors, nah, us, Viglapayati, gives pain, Anga, O Vidura, yat, as much as Ugrasenam, unto King Ugrasen, Tishtam, being seated, Nishannam, waiting upon him, Parameshti Drishne, on the royal throne, Nabodhayat, submitted, Deva, addressing my lord, Nidharaya, please know it, Iti, thus. Translation. Therefore, O Vidura, does it not pain us, his servitors, when we remember that he, Lord Krishna, used to stand before King Ugrasen, who was sitting on the royal throne, and used to submit explanations before him, saying, O my Lord, please let it be known to you. Purport. Lord Krishna's gentle behavior before his so-called superiors, such as his father, grandfather, and elder brother, his amiable behavior with his so-called wives, friends, and contemporaries, his behavior as a child before his mother Yashoda, and his naughty dealings with his young girl friends cannot bewilder a pure devotee like Uddhava. Others who are not devotees are bewildered by such behavior of the Lord, who acted just like a human being. This bewilderment is explained by the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita as follows: Avajananti mamudha manusham tanumashritam param bhavam ajananti mamabhuta maheshwaram. Bhagavad Gita 9:11. Persons with a poor fund of knowledge belittle the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, not knowing his exalted position as the Lord of everything. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has explained his position clearly, but the demonic atheistic student squeezes out an interpretation to suit his own purpose and misleads unfortunate followers on, into the same mentality. Such unfortunate persons merely pick up some slogans from the great book of knowledge but are unable to estimate the Lord as the supreme personality of Godhead. Pure devotees like Uddhava, however, are never misled by such atheistic opportunities. Text 23. Oh, it is very nice verse. Very beautiful verse, actually. There is a backstory behind this verse. Ahobakiyam. No, this text 23. First, let me chant. Uh, Ahobakiyam sanakalakutam jigam sayapaaya yadapyasadvi lebhe gatim dhatrimuchitam tatonyam kam va dayalum sharanam vrajema. Uh, Synonyms: Aho, alas; Baki, the she-demon Putana; Yam, whom; Sthana, breast; Kala, dead; Kutam, poison; Jigamsaya, out of envy; Apatyayat, nourished; Api, although; Asadvi, unfaithful; Lebhe, achieved; Gatim, destination; Dhatriuchitam, just suitable for the nurse; Tatha, beyond whom; Anyam, others; Kam, who else; Va, certainly; Dayatum, merciful; Sharanam, shelter; Vrajema, shall I take. Translation: Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than him who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, Putana, although she was unfaithful, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. So actually, the when Sukadev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, is Sukadev Goswami. So when Sukadev Goswami, actually when he was born, he was a Brahmavadi follower, like he was on the path of Brahman realization. So what he did was, just after Vyasadeva, he was born to Vyasadeva. So Sukadev Goswami, he left for the forest. So Vyasadeva, as the father, they are attached to their son. So Vyasadeva was calling out to Sukadeva Goswami, please stop, my son, please stop, don't go, don't go. But Sukadeva Goswami was not listening to him. Then what Vyasadeva did was, Vyasadeva, he sent his two disciples, and Vyasadeva told their disciples to chant two verses before Sukadeva Goswami. And this is one of the verse. First one is Aho Bhakiyam Sthanakalakutam, and the second verse was Varha Pidham Natavara. It's in Venu Git, 10th canto. It describes the beauty of Krishna. Varha Pidham Natavara. I think it's 10:21 5. It's the second verse. So after hearing these two verses, so Sukadev Goswami thought, oh, this Krishna, he is so merciful that Putana demon, she came to kill Krishna. Even though she came to kill Krishna, no, but what Krishna did was, Krishna gave Putana the position of his mother in the spiritual world, even though she tried to kill Krishna. So this describes how merciful Krishna is. And he is also beautiful. Barha Pidham Natavara. So that verse describes the beauty of Krishna. So one should take shelter of such person who is so much merciful, and at the same time so much beautiful as well. So he's beautiful from inside as well, and he's beautiful from outside as well. So these two verses stopped Sukadev Goswami from going to the forest for Brahman realization, and then Sukadev Goswami got attached to the personal form of Krishna. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhu, for
Yes.
sharing.
But here is an example of the extreme mercy of the Lord, even to his enemy. It is said that a noble man accepts the good qualities of a person of doubtful character, just as one accepts nectar from a stalk of poison. In his babyhood, he was administered deadly poison by Putana, a she demon who tried to kill the wonderful baby. And because she was a demon, it was impossible for her to know that the Supreme Lord, even though playing the part of a baby, was no one less than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His value as the Supreme Lord did not diminish upon his becoming a baby to please his devotee Yashoda. The Lord may assume the form of a baby, or a shape other than that of a human being, but it does not make the slightest difference. He is always the same supreme, a living creature. However powerful he may become by the dint of service, penance can never become equal to the Lord. Lord Krishna accepted the motherhood of Putana because she pretended to be an affectionate mother, allowing Krishna to suck her breast. The Lord accepts the least qualifications of the living entity and awards him to the highest reward. That is the standard of his character. Therefore, who but the Lord can be the ultimate shelter? Haribol.
Haribol. Very nice.
Yeah, everyone must learn these verses. Very
Yes,
nice
Prabhu.
verses. If any other devotees can continue. Thank you so much, Hari Krishna, Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, who will read next? Vishnu Prabhu or Praveen Prabhu?
Can I read few verses, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Praveen Prabhu, are you there?
Just 3, 4, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, bro, I am here, but
You're doing
one
something.
second, bro. Vishnu, bro. Let us conclude the previous verse with the narration of Putana as well. Okay, I think most of you know about it, but Putana in her previous life was the sister of King Bali, named Ratna Mala. Okay, so when Lord Vamana was trying to take back all the properties or assets from kingdom from Bali Maharaj, uh, she was present there. Ratnamala was present there, and witnessing what Lord Vamana was doing to his to her brother, she psychologically thought that if I were this boy's mother, I would feed him poison to kill him. So that is the reason why Lord had given her an opportunity to try to kill uh, him in the next life. So that lady Ratnamala took birth as Putana when Krishna incarnated in Dwapara Yuga. I hope many of you know about it, but still I just wanted to conclude it with this story.
Yes, Prabhu. Actually, I heard another verse, Prabhu. This is not the case in what I heard. I don't know which is the real one. But this queen wanted to, add a motherly affection when seeing Vamana Dev. So she wished to, nurture her like, nurture a baby like Vamana. So that wish, got carried forward to the next birth. This is somewhere I heard. I don't know the source of
But
it.
who was that queen, and why did she want to nurture
No, Prabhu,
Lord
it's the
Vamana?
same queen, Prabhu. But the condition, the thing what led to the reincarnation. That is what I was saying. There was a
But
different wish.
see,
She,
without that negative intention, Lord would not have given her an opportunity to try to feed her the poison,
yes,
feed him
Prabhu.
the poison. Okay,
Yeah,
so
uh,
um,
I
maybe
was just saying this.
I think I am right, but anyhow, I'm not sure. I will maybe double check and confirm you. But you can put your effort to get to know the actual story behind Putana's birth as a
It was
demon.
long before I was in IS Kim, Prabhu. I don't even know the source. I just mentioned it. I don't know which one is the real, like you said.
I can
It
I
was maybe
can
right.
quickly check it out in the Bhagavatam. Okay, let me see.
Okay,
Yeah,
bro.
you can in the meantime you can continue reading the next verses. Thank
Okay,
you,
bro.
bro.
Hare Krishna. Text 24. मन्ये सुरान् भागवतं स्त्री आदिशे संरम्भमार्गाभिनिविष्टचित्तान् ये संयुगे चक्षता तार्क्ष्यपुत्रम् अंशे सुनाभायुधम् आपतन्दम्. Manye, I think, Asuran, the demons, Bhagavadan, great devotees, Three Adishe, unto the Lord of the Threes, Samramba, enmity, Marga, by the way of, Abhinivishta Chittan, absorbed in thought, Ye, those, Samyuge, in the fight, Achakshada, could see, Tarkshaputram, Garuda, the carrier of the Lord, Amshe, on the shoulder, Sunaba on the wheel, Ayudham, one who carries the weapon, Apadantam, coming forward. Translation. I consider the demons who are inimical towards the Lord to be more than the devotees, because while fighting with the Lord, absorbed in thoughts of enmity, they are able to see the Lord carried on the shoulder of Garuda, the son of Tarksha, Kashyapa, and carrying the wheel weapon in his hand. Purport. The Asuras who fought against the Lord face to face got salvation due to their being killed by the Lord. This salvation of the demons is not to, due to their being devotees of the Lord. It is because of the Lord's causeless mercy. Anyone who is slightly in touch with the Lord, somehow or other, is greatly benefited, even to the point of salvation. Due to the excellence of the Lord, due to the excellence of the Lord, He is so kind that He awards salvation even to His enemies, because they come in contact with Him and are indirectly absorbed in Him by their inimical thoughts. Actually, the demons can never be equal to the pure devotees, but Uddhava was thinking in that way because of his feelings of separation. He was thinking that at the last stage of his life, he might not be able to see the Lord face to face as did the demons. The fact is that the devotees who are always engaged in the devotional service of the Lord in transcendental love are rewarded many hundreds and thousands of times more than the demons by being elevated to the spiritual planets, where they remain with the Lord in eternal blissful existence. The demons and impersonals are awarded the facility of merging in the Brahma Jyoti effulgence of the Lord, whereas the devotees are admitted into the spiritual planets. For comparison, one can just imagine the difference between floating in space and residing in one of the planets in the sky. The pleasure of the living entities on the planets is greater than that of those who have no body and who merge in with the molecule of the sun's rays. The impersonals, therefore, are no more favored than the enemies of the Lord. Rather, they are both on the same level of spiritual salvation. Text 25. वसुदेवस्य देवक्यां जादो भोजेन्द्रबन्धने चिकीर्षुर्भगवान् अस्या शम् अजनेभियाचिदा. Vasudevasya, of the wife of Vasudeva, Devakyam, in the womb of Devaki, Jada, born of Bhoja Indra, the king of the Bhojas, Bandhane, in the prison house, Chigirshu, for doing, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Asya, of the earth, Sham, welfare, Ajena, by Brahma, Abhiyachita, being prayed for. Translation. The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, being prayed to by Brahma to bring welfare to the earth, was begotten by Vasudeva in the womb of his wife Devaki in the prison of the king of Bhoja. Purport. Although there is no difference between the Lord's pastimes of appearance and disappearance, the devotees of the Lord do not generally discuss the subject matter of his disappearance. Vidura inquired indirectly from Uddhava about the incidents of his disappearance, since he asked him to relate Krishna Katha, or topics on the history of Lord Krishna. Thus Uddhava began the topics from the very beginning of his appearance as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki in the prison of Kamsa, the king of the Bhojas at Madura. The Lord has no business in this world, but when he is so requested by devotees like Brahma, he descends on the earth for the He descends on the earth for the welfare of the entire universe. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4:8. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Text 26. Tado nanda vrajam ida pitra kamsat vibhyada egadasha samastatra guddarchi sabalo vashad. Tada, thereafter, Nanda Vrajam, cow pastures of Nanda Maharaj, Ita, being brought up, Pitra, by his father, Kamsat, from Kamsa, Vibhyata, being afraid of, Egadasha, 11, Sama, years, Tatra, therein, Guda, Archi, covered fire, Sabala, with Baladeva, Avasat, resided. Translation. Thereafter, his father, being afraid of Kamsa, brought him to the cow pastures of Maharaj Nanda, and there he lived for 11 years like a covered flame with his elder brother Baladeva. Purport: There was no necessity of the Lord's being dispatched to the house of Nanda Maharaj out of fear by Kamsa's determination to kill him as soon as he appeared. It is the business of the Asuras to try to kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or to prove by all means that there is no God, or that Krishna is an ordinary human being and not God. Lord Krishna is not affected by such determination of men of Kamsa's class, but in order to play the role of a child, he agreed to be carried by his father to the cow pastures of Nanda Maharaj, because Vasudeva was afraid of Kamsa. Nanda Maharaj was due to receive him as his child, and Yashoda Mai was also to enjoy the childhood pastimes of the Lord, and therefore to fulfill everyone's desire. He was carried from Mathura to Vrindavana just after his appearance in the prison house of Kamsa. He lived there for 11 years and completed all his fascinating pastimes of childhood, boyhood, and adolescence with his elder brother, Lord Baladev, his first expansion. Vasudev's thought of protecting Krishna from the wrath of Kamsa is part of a transcendental relationship. The Lord enjoys more when someone takes him as his subordinate son who needs the protection of a father than he does when someone accepts him as the Supreme Lord. He is the He is the father of everyone, and he protects everyone. But when his devotee takes it for granted that the Lord is to be protected by the devotee's care, it is a transcendental joy for the Lord. Thus, when Vasudeva, out of fear of Kamsa, carried him to Vrindavana, the Lord enjoyed it. Otherwise, he had no fear from Kamsa or anyone else. Text 27. परीदो वत्सभिर्वदांश्चार्यान् व्यहरत् विभु यमुनोपवने कुजात् द्विजसङ्गुलिताङ्घ्रिपे. Parida, surrounded by Vatsabi, cowherd boys, Vatsan, calves, Karayan, herding, tending, Viharat, enjoyed by traveling, Vibhu, the Almighty, Yamuna, the Yamuna river, Upavane, gardens on the shore, Kujat, vibrated by the voice, Dija, the twice-born birds, Sankulita, densely situated, Angribe, trees. Translation. In his childhood, the Almighty Lord was surrounded by cowherd boys and calves, and thus he travelled on the shore of the Yamuna river, through gardens densely covered with trees and filled with vibrations of chirping birds. Purport. Nanda Maharaj was a landholder for King Kamsa, but because by caste he was a Vaishya, a member of the mercantile and agricultural community, he maintained thousands of cows. It is the duty of the Vaishyas to give protection to the cows, just as the Kshatriyas are to give protection to the human beings. Because the Lord was a child, he was put in charge of the calves with his other cowherd boy friends. These cowherd boys were great rishis and yogis in their previous birth, and after many such pious births, they gained the association of the Lord and could play with him on equal terms. Such cowherd boys never cared to know who Krishna was, but they played with him as a most intimate and lovable friend. They were so fond they were so fond of the Lord that at night they would only think of the next morning when they would be able to meet the Lord and go together to the forest for cowherding. The forests on the shore of the Yamuna are all beautiful gardens, full of trees of mango, jackfruit, apples, guava, oranges, grapes, berries, palm fruit, and so many other plants and fragrant flowers. And because the forest was on the bank of the Yamuna, naturally there were ducks, cranes, and peacocks on the branches of the trees. All these trees and birds and bees were pious living entities born in the transcendental abode of Vrindavana, just to give pleasure to the Lord and his eternal associates, the cowherd boys. While playing like a small child with his associate, the Lord killed many demons, including Aghasura, Bagasura, Pralambasura, and Gardhabasura. Although he appeared at Vrindavana just as a boy, he was actually like the covered flames of a fire. As a small particle of fire can kindle a great fire with fuel, so the Lord killed all these great demons, beginning from his babyhood in the house of Nanda Maharaj. The land of Vrindavana, the Lord's childhood playground, still remains today, and anyone who visits these places enjoys the same transcendental bliss Although the Lord is not physically visible to our imperfect eyes, Lord Chaitanya recommended this land of the Lord as identical with the Lord and therefore worshipable by the devotees. This instruction is taken up especially by the followers of Lord Chaitanya, known as the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And because the land is identical with the Lord, devotees like Uddhava and Vidura therefore visited these places 5000 years ago in order to have direct contact with the Lord, visible or not visible. Thousands of devotees of the Lord are still wandering in these sacred places of Vrindavana, and all of them are preparing themselves to go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Anyone else can read, Praveen Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, Praveen Prabhu, you can continue. Haribol.
Yeah. Text 28. Kaumarim darshayam ems chestam prakshaniyam vrajau kasam ruddhan iva hasan mugdha bala simhavalokanah. Synonyms: Kaumarim, just suitable to childhood. Darshayan, used to show. Chestam, activities. Prekshaniyam, worthy to be seen. Vraja Vokasan, by the inhabitants of the land of Vrindavana. Rudan, crying. Iva, just like. Hasan, laughing. Mugdha, struck with wonder. Bala Simha, lion cub. Avalochana, looking like that. Translation purport by His Divine Grace S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Jai. Translation: when the Lord displayed his activities just suitable for childhood, he was only visible to the residents of Vrindavana. Sometimes he would cry and sometimes laugh just like a child, and while doing so, he would appear like a lion cub. Purport: if anyone wants to enjoy the childhood pastimes of the Lord, then he has to follow in the footsteps of the residents of Vrajavasi like Nanda, Upananda, and other parental inhabitants. A child may insist on having something and cry like anything to get it, disturbing the whole neighborhood, and then immediately after achieving the desired thing, he laughs. Such crying and laughing is enjoyable to the parents and elderly members of the family. So the Lord would simultaneously cry and laugh in this way and merge his devotee parents in the humor of transcendental pleasure. These incidents are enjoyable only by the residents of Raja like Nanda Maharaj and not by the impersonalist worshippers of Brahman or Paramatma. Sometimes, when he was attacked in the forest with demons, Krishna would appear struck with wonder, but he looked on them like the cub of a lion and killed them. His childhood companions would also be struck with wonder, and when they came back home, they would narrate the story to their parents, and everyone would appreciate the qualities of their Krishna. Child Krishna did not belong only to his parents, Nanda and Yashoda, but he was the son of all the elderly inhabitants of Vrindavana and the friend of all contemporary boys and girls. Everyone loved Krishna. He was the life and soul of everyone, including the animals, the cows, and the calves. Text 29. स एव गोधनं लक्ष्म्या निकेतं सितगोवृषं चारयन् अनुगान् गोपान् रणद्वेणुर्हरीरमत्. Synonyms: Saha, he, Lord Krishna, Eva, certainly, Godhanam, the treasure of cows, Lakshmiyah, by opulence, Niketam, reservoir, Sitago Vrasham, beautiful cows and bulls, Charayan, herding, Anugan, the followers, Gopan, covered boys, Ranat, blowing, Venuhu, flute, Hariramat, enlivened. Translation: While herding the very beautiful bulls, the Lord, who was the reservoir of all opulence and fortune, used to blow his flute, and then he enlivened his faithful followers, the cowherd boys. Purport: as he grew to 6 and 7 years old, the Lord was given charge of looking after the cows and bulls in the grazing grounds. He was the son of a well-to-do landholder who owned hundreds and thousands of cows, and according to Vedic economics, one is considered to be a rich man by the strength of his store of grains and cows. With only these two things, cows and grain, humanity can solve its eating problem. Human society needs only sufficient grain and sufficient cows to solve its economic problems. All other things but these two are artificial necessities created by man to kill his valuable life at the human level and waste his time in things which are not needed. Lord Krishna, as the teacher of human society, personally showed by his acts that the mercantile community or the Vaishyas should herd cows and bulls and thus give protection to the valuable animals. According to Smriti regulation, the cow is the mother and the bull the father of the human being. The cow is the mother because just as one sucks the breast of one's mother, human society takes cow's milk. Similarly, the bull is the father of the human society because the father earns for the children just as the bull tills the ground to produce food grains. Human society will kill its spirit of life by killing the father and the mother. It is mentioned herein that the beautiful cows and bulls were of various checkered colors red, black, green, yellow, ash, etc. And because of their colors and healthy, smiling features, the atmosphere was enlivening. Over and above all, the Lord used to play his celebrated flute. The sound vibrated by his flute would give his friends such transcendental pleasure that they would forget all the talks of the Brahmananda, which is so praised by the impersonalists. These cowherd boys, as will be explained by Sukadeva Goswami, were living entities who had accumulated heaps of pious acts and thus were enjoying with the Lord in person and were hearing his transcendental flute. The Brahma Samhita confirms the Lord's blowing his transcendental flute. Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalayatakshamma Barhavatamsam Aitambuda Sundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamini Vishesha Sobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Brahma Samhita 5:30. Brahmaji said, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who plays on his transcendental flute. His eyes are like lotus flowers. He is decorated with the peacock plumes, and his bodily color resembles a fresh black cloud, although his bodily features are more beautiful than millions of cupids. These are the special features of the Lord. Text 30. प्रयुक्तान् भोज राजेन मायिनः कामरूपिणः लीलया व्यनुदत् तांस्तान् बालः क्रीडनकान् इव. Synonyms: प्रयुक्तान्, engaged, भोजराजेन by King Kamsa, मायिनः, great wizards, kama rupinah, who could assume any form they liked, Leelaya, in the course of the pastimes, Vyanuta Dutt, killed, Tan, them, Tan, as they came there, Balaha, the child, Kredanakan, dolls, Iva, like that. Translation: the great wizards who were able to assume any form were engaged by the king of Bhoja, Kamsa, to kill Krishna, but in the course of his pastimes, the Lord killed them as easily as a child breaks dolls. Purport: the atheist Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna just after his birth. He failed to do so, but later on he got information that Krishna was living in Vrindavana at the house of Nanda Maharaj. He therefore engaged many wizards who could perform wonderful acts and assume any form they liked. All of them appeared before the child lord in various forms like Agha, Baka, Potana, Sakata, Trinavarta, Dhenuka, and Gardabha. And they tried to kill the Lord at every opportunity. But one after another, all of them were killed by the Lord as if he were only playing with dolls. Children play with toy lions, elephants, boars, and many similar dolls, which are broken by the children in the course of their playing with them. Before the Almighty Lord, any powerful living being is just like a toy lion in the hands of a playing child. No one can excel God in any capacity, and therefore no one can be able to or greater than him, nor can anyone attain the stage of equality with God by any kind of endeavor. Jnana, yoga, and bhakti are three recognized processes of spiritual realization. The perfection of such processes can lead one to the desired goal of life in spiritual value, but that does not mean that one can attain a perfection equal to the Lord's by such endeavors. The Lord is the Lord at every stage. When he was playing just like a child on the lap of his mother Yashoda Mai, or just like a cowherd boy with his transcendental friends, he continued to remain God without the slightest diminution of his six opulences. Thus, he is always unrivaled. Text 31. Vipannan Vishapanena Nigrahya भुजगाधिपम् उत्थाप्यापाय यद् गावस् तत् तोयं प्रकृति स्थितम्. Synonyms: Vipannan, perplexed in great difficulties, Vishapanena, by drinking poison, Nigrahya, subduing, Bhujaga Adhipam, the chief of the reptiles, Utthapya, after coming out, Upaya Yat, caused to drink, Gavaha, the cows, Tat, that, Toyam, water, Prakriti, natural, Stitam, situated. Translation: The inhabitants of Vrindavana were perplexed by great difficulties because a certain portion of the Yamuna was poisoned by the chief of the reptiles, Kaliya. The Lord chastised the snake king within the water and drove him away. And after coming out of the river, he caused the cows to drink the water and proved that the water was again in its natural state. Text 32. अयाजयद् गोसवेन गोपराजं द्विजोत्तमैः तित्तस्य वित्तस्य चोरभारस्य चिकीर्षन् सद्व्ययं विभुः. Synonyms: Ayajayat, made to perform Gosavena by worship of the cows, Goparajam, the king of the cowherds, Dvija Uttamaihi, by the learned Brahmanas, Vittasya, of the wealth, Cha, also Uru Bharasya, great opulence, Chikirshna, Chikirshan, desiring to act, Sadvyayam, proper utilization, Vibhuhu, the great. Translation: The Supreme Lord Krishna desired to utilize the opulent financial strength of Maharaj Nanda for worship of the cows, and also he wanted to give a lesson to Indra, the king of heaven. Thus, he advised his father to perform worship of Go, or the pasturing land and the cows with the help of learned Brahmanas. Purport: Since he is the teacher of everyone, the Lord also taught his father, Maharaj Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj was a well-to-do landholder and owner of many cows, and as was the custom, he used to perform yearly worship of Indra, the king of heaven, with great opulence. This worship of demigods by the general populace is also advised in the Vedic literature just so people can accept the superior superior power of the Lord. The demigods are servants of the Lord, deputed to look after the management of various activities of universal affairs. Therefore, it is advised in the Vedic scriptures that one should perform yajnas to appease the demigods, but one who is devoted to the Supreme Lord has no need to appease the demigods. Worship of the demigods by common person is an arrangement for acknowledging the supremacy of the Supreme Lord, but it is not necessary. Such appeasement is generally recommended for material gains only. As we have already discussed in the second canto of the literature, one who admits the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not need to worship the secondary demigods. Sometimes, being worshipped and adored by less intelligent living beings, the demigods become puffed up with power and forget the supremacy of the Lord. This happened when Lord Krishna was present in the universe, and thus the Lord wanted to give a lesson to the king of heaven, Indra. He therefore asked Maharaj Nanda to stop the sacrifice offered to Indra and to use the money properly by performing a ceremony worshipping the cows and the pasturing ground on the hill of Govardhana. By this act, Lord Krishna taught human society, as he has instructed in the Bhagavad Gita also, that one should worship the Supreme Lord by all acts and by all their results. That will bring about the desired success. The Vaishyas are specifically advised to give protection to the cows and their pasturing ground or agricultural land instead of squandering their hard earned money. That will satisfy the Lord. The perfection of one's occupational duty, whether in the sphere of duty to oneself, one's community, or one's nation, is judged by the degree to which the Lord is satisfied. Text 33. Varshadindre Vrajah Kopad Bhagnamaneeti Vihvalaha Gotra Leela Tapatrena Trato Grihnata synonyms Varshati. In pouring water, Indre, by the king of heaven, Indra. Vrajaha, the land of cows, Vrindavana. Kopat Bhagna Mane, having been in anger or being insulted, Ati, highly. Vihvalaha, perturbed. Gotra, the hill for the cows. Leela, tapatrena, by the pastime umbrella. Trataha, were protected. Bhadra, O sober one. Grahunata, by the merciful Lord. Translation: O sober Vidura, King Indra, his honor having been insulted, poured water incessantly on Vrindavana, and thus the inhabitants of Vraja, the land of cows, were greatly distressed. By the compassionate Lord Krishna saved them from danger with his pastime umbrella, the Govardhana hill. Text 34. Satchashi Karair Mrishtam Manayan Rajani Mukham Gayan Kalapadam Reme Strinam Mandala Mandanaha. Synonyms: Sharat, autumn. Shashi, moon. Karaihi, by the shine. Mrishtam, brightened. Manayan, thinking so. Rajani Mukham, the face of the night. Gayan, singing. Kalapadam, pleasing songs. Reme, enjoyed. Strinam, of the women. Mandala Mandanaha, as the central beauty of the assembly of women. Translation: in the third season of the year, the Lord enjoyed the central beauty of the assembly of women by attracting them with his pleasing songs in an autumn night brightened by moonshine. Purport. Before leaving the land of cows, Vrindavana, the Lord pleased his young girlfriends, the transcendental gopis, in his Rasalila pastimes. Here, Uddhava stopped his description of the Lord's activities. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, second chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Remembrance of Lord Krishna.
Haribo. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Next one is which one? Oh, Haribo. Very nice. Okay, now let's read Shiksastakam prayers. Cheto darpanamarjanam pavamaha davagni nirvapanam shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritaspadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
नाम्नामकारि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिस् तत्रार्पिता नियमितः स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैव ईदृशमिहा जनिनानुरागः
तृणादपि सुनिचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीया सदा हरिः
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीशकामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनेश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिरहेतुकी त्वयि
ऐनन्दतनुजा किङ्करां पतितं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजस्थितधूलि सदृशं विचिन्तया
नैनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गद हृदय्या गिरा पुलकैर्निचितं वपुः कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
युगा इदं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रपश्य इदां शून्या इदां जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे
अश्लिष्य वा पादरतं पिनष्टु माम् अदर्शनं मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विरता तुलं पतो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव न परः. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son
O
of
son of
Maharaj Nanda.
O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord unconditionally.
Hari Bol, Shri Siksastakam ki jai,
Jai.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Baujanma Karayadi Shavana Kirtan, Taputana Paya Krishna Pade Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many birds, he will not get the love of God. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses against the holy name are as follows. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense is to consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Third offense is to disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
Fourth offense is to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version.
Fifth offense, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination.
Sixth offense, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
Eighth offense, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda.
Ninth offense, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
Tenth offense is not to have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desired trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls.
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
नमो नमः।
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
जय
Jai,
श्रील
प्रभुपाद
प्रभुपाद
जय।
की जय।
Jai,
Jai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari
हरि हरि
Hari
Bol.
Hari
बोल।
Bol. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your association. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
थैंक यू प्रभु। हरे कृष्ण। जय श्री प्रभु।